Hello and welcome to the Spotlight. I'm David Rose, and tonight we are taking you to Snohomish County, home to more than 800,000 people. And we begin in the county's largest city of Everett. And that's where detectives need your help to solve a mysterious death. It all started back in 2020 with the search for a missing sex offender who simply vanished. Then a grisly discovery of his partial remains that has major crimes detectives now focusing their investigation in an area on the southwest side of the city that's almost a mile off Larimer Road. The Spotlight was given exclusive access to the dig site where investigators were hoping to find more of his body. As an Everett Public Works excavator empties a ravine, major crimes detectives with Everett Police and members of the Snohomish County Medical Examiner's Office watch closely. They're looking for any signs of human remains. It's not the first time detectives have been here. The property owner called police last March after he found bones. These little flags show where detectives recovered the partial remains of Timothy McCamey. McCamey had vanished after he was released from jail on March 31st, 2020, prompting this segment on Washington's Most Wanted.
He was in jail and a judge granted a temporary release order for him on March 30th. He was released with an ankle bracelet, and he has since cut that ankle bracelet off.
When McCamey first disappeared, detectives thought he'd cut off his GPS tracker. That's something sex offenders do sometimes to avoid arrest. But it turns out the battery had died. They say that the tracker last pinged showing him about 100 yards over there, up there by the railroad tracks. That tracker was found attached to his leg earlier this spring.
Our detectives, as they were searching around, managed to find a part of the remains attached to the ankle monitor, which was damaged and no longer functioning, but we're able to look at the ankle monitor, look at the serial number, and track it back to who it belonged to.
Because it was so wet then, detectives couldn't get the backhoe in here to dredge the ravine.
It was just muddy. It was up to your knees in mud with no grass, so at the time it was easier to maybe see remains, but it was too hard to excavate due to the mud. So now we come back out and we've got 5 feet of grass to work through, but at least it's dry.
They're hoping to find more of his remains to determine a cause of death.
We're still trying to figure out if he was killed. Did he have an accident? Did he overdose? There could be a lot of reasons why his remains are out here, and not all of them are nefarious.
Detectives are also trying to build a timeline. After McCamey was released from the Snohomish County Jail, he spoke with his sister. It was April 2nd at 8:22 p.m. His last GPS ping was the next night at 8 p.m. near where his remains were found.
Yeah, anyone who has spoken to him or seen Timothy in his final days alive and can provide us any information, no matter how small it may seem, can help us piece together that timeline and determine when exactly he got out here, how he got out here, was he out here with anybody else, and ideally how he died.
McCamey's aunt and sister-in-law didn't want to go on camera, but both told me that they believe he was murdered and say he was abused as a child by his father, who is also now dead. They don't feel that he ever had a chance to succeed in life. Everett police say his past deeds do not deter them from trying to find out what happened to him. Why put this much effort into trying to solve the death of a convicted child molester?
Yeah, so when we investigate deaths, we don't take into account their history. We don't care who they were before. We're here to do our best to determine if a crime occurred and get justice for the family and give peace of mind for the family. Their history doesn't go into our equation.
But determining whether there was a crime is proving difficult. Part of the challenge of searching for the remains is that this mud is clay. It's really thick. So they're pumping water from the ravine, trying to break it up. Could McCamey have gotten stuck while trying to cross the ravine before dying of exposure? It's possible. Or he might have been attacked while heading to a homeless encampment.
Maybe there is a killer out there who wrongs the wrong person and that person is ready to come forward with information, or maybe they just have a change of heart and feel that they should tell their story.
Any information would help.
We don't want his family to never know what happened.
If you have any information to help Everett Police solve his case, email them at tips@everettwa.gov, or you can text the information anonymously to Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound through the P3 Tips app on your cell phone. Crime in Everett has moved beyond the back 40, outside the homeless camps, and right onto the streets. We are taking you now to an intersection on the city's south side that's becoming famous for the kinds of things an intersection should never be famous for. The Spotlight's Matt Markovich went there himself to see what, if any, progress has been made in the city's crime crackdown.
The intersection of Airport Way and Evergreen Way is infamous at many different levels. It's busy. People walking, driving, There's a Shell Mini Mart, CVS Pharmacy, 7-Eleven, a pawn shop, restaurants, and a Home Depot.
Do the police come and tell you to move along?
Oh, all the time. It's like, that's all they do, so it's like arrest us and tell us to move along.
There's a visible homeless population.
Are you doing okay right now? Are you still coming down? Or?
Coming down from what, baby?
I don't know, just...
I'm coming up always.
There's open buying and selling and use of drugs. Zulu knows she has a problem.
It's the opiates. I mean, it's like, you know, it's a disease or whatever, just like cancer and stuff, and it's really hard to get out of.
The intersection is a microcosm of societal issues all converging on one spot. And that's why this area has become a focus for so many.
I've been here for about 5 years.
This area right here?
Yep. It's gotten a lot worse. Part of that's our own fault.
There's the corner of our store which goes behind the building.
Nipun is the franchise owner of the 7-Eleven.
I have a 10-year-old son. In the environment here, I don't want to bring my son to my store. This has been cut almost 18 to 20 times in last year. And they go through this area.
Vandals cut through his wire fencing.
They're in back there doing all sorts of nasty stuff.
Vandals have torn apart his tire inflator to get to the electrical outlet to charge their phones.
And they've damaged it so bad that we can't even fix it. We even put a lock on the door with a chain so people cannot go back there. Yeah. But no, it makes no difference. They just have a bolt cutters, they just keep cutting it.
And they probably steal it from the Home Depot across the street?
Right across the street.
It's no secret the Home Depot gets ripped off all the time. People told me that.
I didn't know if there was any buying and selling here of stuff. That's why I thought people might be.
There is.
So our carts full of stuff people will take from Home Depot and walk here, and you know they will try to sell it to the Hispanic crowd who are actually working hard. But you know it's not their fault when the cart full of stuff in front of them for half or cheaper price, and after selling, they are buying drugs. That's all they're doing.
How you surviving?
Well, I'm on 3 shredded mini wheats and I got a Marlboro cigarette and I got good clothes on. The weather's not too bad.
Joe is like many we spoke with, just trying to survive.
How do you guys survive?
Yeah, fly a sign.
How's the crime here?
Pretty bad, so it's murders and drive-by shootings and everything.
You got stabbed the other day?
Yeah,
My butthole, I was covering my butthole, so I got stabbed in my hand.
Nearly everyone told me the police have become more visible.
I think last 60 days, approximately, Everett Police has made a whole lot of difference.
And there's outreach.
Do they offer you like housing or any services at all?
They do.
And do you take it?
I personally haven't, no.
Why not?
Not ready.
Do the cops run you guys off?
Yeah, they run us off. They definitely run us off. When it's out on the street, they just get on their loudspeaker and get out of here, move, or they'll blow their horn like their siren, man, until we move, you know what I'm saying?
They have their new task force teams, and every so often they come through and just start arresting everybody for everything they can. And it's every couple days lately, from what I understand. I don't even stay down here anymore because of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not worth being down here anymore.
So have people left because of it?
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah. All right, she wants to get you out of here, huh?
Yeah.
She's kicking you out?
Yeah.
Still, people are waiting for a long-term fix.
What's it going to take to change that?
I think when our politicians and police can work together and they say, it's not allowed, that'll change everything.
So Matt, you were back in that area about 3 weeks ago and you came to me and you said, have you seen this huge encampment out there? We're talking about progress on this broadcast. Is there progress? Is that encampment still there?
No, it's not. There has been some progress. What I saw 3 weeks ago, there was an open-air drug market tied to a market where they're buying and selling stolen material, clearly from across the street at the Home Depot. Well, that was not there today. The tents that I saw are all gone. There has been some progress there, especially with the police department. The people who have been living there on the street have been telling me. So they're seeing some progress, although they're not happy about the progress because they're being shooed along, but there has been.
Seeing the people you talk to breaks my heart for the situations they're in. But I also have to think about the regular citizen that needs to go to those businesses and go about their day. How are these businesses staying in operation? Do you see any regular citizens out there?
There are plenty of regular citizens, but I think this has been going on so long, for more than a year here, actually 2 years, a year since they've been kind of cracking down and trying to clean the area up. The citizens there are regulars. They live in the neighborhood. They're used to all this. Unfortunately, it's just a sign of the times. But the businesses have adapted too. Like that 7-Eleven owner. He now hands out free food to anybody who asks him that he's hungry in order so they can stay out of his store. They have stolen from his store, but as an agreement, he'll give them free food so they don't come into his store. So businesses are adapting too, to just the way it's been, but it has been improving.
It's a shame that in this day and age they have to adapt and that those people aren't willing to take the help now. Yeah. Matt, thank you. When it comes to property crimes, Marysville police say the majority of their cases are linked to drug addiction. So officers have partnered with an embedded social worker to try to get people the addiction and mental health treatment they so desperately need. And the program has had promising success. Since 2018, the team has contacted 2,868 people. 472 of those accepted help, and many now have jobs in housing. Officer Mike Buell and Rochelle Long, a mental health counselor, have spent the last 5 years working together on the streets, in the camps, anywhere that they can change lives. And they call the people they contact their clients. They'll meet them no matter where they are, even in jail, if someone is ready to get clean. It's about showing empathy and compassion.
Personally, I have a daughter who's a heroin addict, so it hit close to home for me.
Heroin is actually rare to see nowadays. Now it's all meth and fentanyl-laced pills called blues, ripping lives apart. The newest ones are mixed with Valium and Xanax, making them even more deadly. Not even Narcan will work to bring them back in some cases. Rochelle says the biggest hurdle for their clients to accept help is their fear of getting sick. Many of their clients are dealing with mental health issues as well as the drugs.
All of our clientele have a story, and I want to hear their story. They're human beings and they should be treated as such, and I have a lot of compassion for them.
It's all about building trust with them, because every time they succeed in getting someone off the street, they give that person a future as a healthy and productive member of our community. Up next, vehicle theft, drive-by shootings, and gang violence all on the rise. The spotlight hits the streets with a Snohomish County Sheriff's deputy.
You're too young, right? We're the same age, man. Okay, you're about to be 27 years old. This isn't a life for you.
It's equally heartbreaking and harrowing as we step into the squad and see Snohomish County through the eyes of law enforcement. The Snohomish County Sheriff's Office says South Precinct areas around Airport Road and Highway 99 and 128th Southwest and 4th Avenue are seeing a high influx of crime. And despite their staffing challenges, deputies are on a proactive mission to protect businesses, arrest criminals, and provide resources to those ready for a different path. The Spotlight's video journalist, Clint Edwards, takes you on a ride-along with Deputy Brendan Pike.
We're out here trying to make contacts, trying to make people aware that we're out here, that we're still arresting people for crimes that they've committed. What's up, man? Lighten up? I got you now. Do you have any weapons on you? Any knives, guns, bombs, explosives? Nothing at all. Do you mind if I pat you down for anything? Is there an Everett unit that can come to my location? So there is probable cause for your arrest, which means you're gonna go to jail today, okay? Probable cause is still active for him. So they'll come down and take him. It's for burglary in the 2nd degree. Just more paraphernalia. At 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, there's typically 5 of us for the city size of Tacoma. We can also help you out getting into treatment, and once your treatment's done, they can help you out with housing, okay? Get a hold of them, they'll help you. That's a lot of area to cover for just 5 people, and say one domestic incident occurs, well, that's 2 people, so now there's only 3 people for South Snohomish County. So it really backs up the call volume. On a day-to-day basis for a South County deputy, it's not uncommon to go and handle 25, 30 calls a shift. Sheriff's Office, how's it going, guys? Hey, partner. Joseph. You don't want to listen? Okay. Does everybody have IDs on them? Come sit down for me here real quick, okay? Me? Yeah. Roland, you do have a warrant, my man. So I'll have you stand up real quick. Just turn away from me, okay?
What would it be for?
It's for harassment. Is there anything on you that I'm gonna find that shouldn't be on you? Is there any paraphernalia, dope, knives, guns, needles? I really don't like getting poked by needles.
I may have a small pocket knife.
Okay, we'll do the paraphernalia and the warrant for today. I'm not gonna do you for trespassing. We're just gonna do what you had on you in your warrant, all right, my man? When you're up at the jail, talk to the nurses. They can help you get in methadone. They can help you get on Suboxone, okay? They can help you get into treatment. Lack of staffing and crime violence and the violence that's occurring has really been difficult. And so we're trying to reel it back down and try and do as much as we possibly can. A lot of the violence is obviously happening west side of I-5 and our 128th Street Southwest. We had a homicide just up the road here at Billiards 128th. We've had rapes and murders and stolen vehicles at the Motel 6. This is a pretty heavily transient area. So the transient problem has gotten much larger no matter how many times we offer them resources and try and get them help. A lot of them seem to decline it and want to continue, whether it be addiction or just don't want help in the first place. There's a guy rolling around here. We'll go check on him. Tucker Sanchez, male's rolling around on the ground. Probably experiencing side effects of narcotics.
How you doing?
You all right? What's going on, man? Talk to me. What? Exercising? You're rolling on the ground. Are you living back here now? Huh? Are you living back here now? No. There's a marijuana dispensary that's just down here. We've had a huge uprise in marijuana store robberies. And again, the violence, because they're coming in with rifles, they're coming in with pistols, they're assaulting employees. Our crime rate, especially our violent crime rate, has skyrocketed through the roof. Put all of his paraphernalia in this corner pocket.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of tools in there.
Just everyday stuff?
Yeah, and then he had a little razor blade in there. He was smoking fentanyl behind the gravel pit, so I just trespassed him. Families don't need to see it, children don't need to see it. In the last couple of days, last week, we've had multiple drive-by shootings that are gang-related and gang retaliation-related. Unfortunately, there's been 2 juveniles that were shot and killed in Linwood. And it's a tragedy that the gangs are having to retaliate against each other. And one night we had 4 drive-by shootings that were directly gang-related. Just crimes of violence in general are up. So we're going to be going to the Motel 6. This is on 158th Street and 4th Ave West. High narcotics area. A lot of arrests that have been made here. Homicides have occurred here. Stolen cars end up back here quite a bit. Right now it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of people in here actually. Typically the parking lot is pretty well packed. Sometimes you'll see spotters standing outside of the door watching for police to show up. Seems almost consistently there's narcotics here at any given point in time. And obviously with narcotics, other crimes follow it, whether it be stolen vehicles or stolen property or people committing other crimes to get money for narcotics, prostitution. All right, man, I'm just gonna read your rights so you understand them, okay? So you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in the court of law. You have the right this time to speak to a lawyer and have one present with you or being questioned. You cannot afford to hire a lawyer, won't be appointed to you to represent you before any questioning if you wish. You decide at any time to exercise these rights, not answer any questions or make any statements, okay? Do you understand each of these rights that I've explained them to you? Yes. Get yourself into treatment, man. Get yourself some help. All right, the MEM30s, they're not a life for you, okay? You're too young, right? We're the same age, man, okay? You're about to be 27 years old. This isn't a life for you, okay? Obviously, we are down on manpower. We are hiring. We're trying to get as many people through the rotation as possible to get people on the road to better serve our community. Right now, serving the city size of Tacoma with 5 deputies in the morning, obviously there's going to be a longer wait time for us to get to somebody who, they have something that happened a couple days ago or something that we can handle by a phone call. We'll try and call them on the way to another call. Unfortunately, they're going to have to wait for a little bit, but we will get to you. We will make sure that you are served. We'll make sure if you call that we will be there.
What's in a name? For the Snohomish County Medical Examiner's Office, it's the final step in solving a mystery. When a body turns up without an identity.
It's pretty amazing because, you start out with maybe just a bone or like a mandible, and then you're like, how are we going to find out who this is?
Turns out it's all in the DNA. After the break, we're introducing you to the John Does of Snohomish County and the role your DNA may play in giving them back their names. People go missing all the time. We see the posters, the smiling faces frozen in time, the concerned families hoping for a safe return. But sometimes a body surfaces in a lake or a hiker stumbles upon human remains and there's no trace of where they came from or even who they were. And that's where the forensic investigators come in, tasked with putting together a story, a name, a face for unidentified missing persons. We are taking you now inside that relentless effort at the Snohomish County Medical Examiner's Office and meeting the team using cutting-edge DNA technology to solve the cases everyone else has deemed unsolvable. But they need your help in the investigation.
It's a really, really great environment to be in. I mean, I wake up every day excited to come into work.
It may not be what you expect to hear from a woman sitting in a morgue.
I didn't think I'd ever find a job this satisfying. I didn't know a job could be this satisfying.
But for Nicole Daugherty, boxes of bones,
Spencer Doe, I-5 Silly Doe, Sultan Basin Doe,
and drawings of the dead are just part of another day in the office.
And if I had a loved one, missing for even a year, that would seem like a lifetime. And a lot of these people have been missing and their families have been missing them for 30, 40, 50 years, which is unimaginable to me.
Nicole is the operations manager at the Snohomish County Medical Examiner's Office. Her team is dedicated to returning the names and stories to those who have fallen through time as a Jane or John Doe.
So in 2018, we had 15 unidentified persons here, and today we only have 5 remaining. So it's been 4 years that we've identified 10 people. And so I am really confident we'll clear the docket here soon.
But in order to do that, they need your help. All 5 men have a few things in common. They all have their DNA in the county's Gen Match system. They all have distant matches building sparse family trees. And they all are waiting for the right person to upload their DNA and make that match. It's a process investigators at the ME's office describe as a needle in the haystack.
Another major thing that often is missing in these missing person cases is a missing person report.
Without an official report, Nicole's team is starting from scratch. And that means starting with the only they have in front of them, DNA.
It's pretty amazing because, you start out with maybe just a bone or like a mandible, and then you're like, how are we going to find out who this is? So finding the DNA, and okay, great, we have the DNA profile, but that doesn't give us a name.
And that's where you come in. Anyone who has uploaded their DNA to a genealogy site like Ancestry.com or 23andMe can have a part in solving these cold cases. It takes a few clicks using the online tool GEDmatch. You simply opt in, and your genome can now be used to help solve cases nationwide. Nicole says even if you aren't aware of anyone missing in your immediate family, your donation can still connect a crucial missing link.
It could potentially, be your 12th cousin or something, and that may be the key that we need to help narrow down who that person is.
This is all possible thanks to a company called Othram. Their genome sequencing techniques are giving identities to those everyone else has given up on.
And they've also been able to find samples that other labs have told us don't even try, it's not worth it, you're not going to get anything out of this, it's too degraded, it's too contaminated, and then Othram will do it.
This allows the Snohomish County Medical Examiner's Office to solve the unsolvable cases, like the case of Lake Stickney John Doe, now known as Rodney Peter Johnson.
So we had less than 1 nanogram, which would generally, they'd want like 10, and we had 0.5, which would be the equivalent to about 20 individual cells. So it's really, really, really small.
Johnson's body was found in a lake in the mid-1990s, the victim of a violent murder. He sat unidentified for decades, his case gone cold, until the cutting-edge tech, paired with good old-fashioned detective work, gave him back his face. Others, though, still await their fate.
On July 23rd of 1980, a fly fisherman found the remains of I-5 Silly Doe, as he's known as of now.
Right now, the office is working to raise money to help identify this man, known as I-5 Silly Doe. All he needs is that perfect match.
He is in CODIS, and we have him in GEDmatch, and we're actively trying to build family trees to determine his identity. So we're on the trail.
While the team works every day to build family trees based on distant matches, the closer the relation, the faster the results.
Our current match on I-5 Silly Doe is a distant cousin. If, say, a sibling or aunt, uncle, something, a closer family member uploaded today, tomorrow, that could be the key to solving it in, a matter of days from now, as opposed to what may take years.
For now, I-5 Silly Doe sits on a shelf, awaiting that critical sample. And the team around him anxiously awaits the day they get to deliver a lifetime of closure, if only to one family.
Going through that whole thing, it's like you're really following a journey of just identifying this person. So it's very, very satisfying, like seeing what you started with, and then now you're able to give this family closure, you're able to give this person their identity back.
The work itself takes a dose of empathy.
Being able to help those families through the most traumatic event of their life is great, because at that point they're grieving and they're sad, and it's like, what can you do for them? And just like little things like, here's your next step, or like telling them, you don't need to rush with this, or just like little things like that seem pretty insignificant to us when we're having a normal day can mean the world to people when they lose a loved one.
There are some difficult conversations.
A lot of times there's guilt, or, oh, I could have done this, or I should have done this, and letting them know that that's normal to feel that, but they couldn't have done anything.
But for Nicole, it goes beyond the bones, beyond the DNA, beyond the investigation.
Just seeing the relief and that those families get when we do give them those answers is really what it's all about. We want to get you your family member's identity back as much as you do, and we want to do that as quickly as possible. So anything the public can do to help us is really, really important.
You can help solve these mysteries. It's easy. You saw our producer do it in that story. Just get your DNA into jedmatch.com and opt in to help potentially solve investigations right here in Washington State and around the country. Up next, we've introduced you to some of our community's heroes and hard workers, but they need all the help they can get. What jobs are open now so you can help make a difference? We've spent the last half hour showing you truly incredible efforts by some of our state's bravest and most dedicated public servants. From the Snohomish County deputies spread thin trying to keep their community safe, to the dedicated team at the medical examiner's office. But there's one common theme throughout all of these departments: they are understaffed and they need help. Back in May, the Spotlight's cameras were there as the Everett Police Department made their new recruitment video. They asked the community to be part of it, hoping to draw in new recruits that may not already be working in law enforcement. People who are thinking out of the box and are excited to change the relationship between their community and the cops.
Be like me and join up and make the changes that you want to see.
Our officers are serving for the right reasons.
So join the police department and be the superhero that you wanted to be.
There are plenty of positions open for all interests and skill levels. You can apply right on the City of Everett's website. That's everettwa.gov. And if you were inspired by the work of the medical examiner's office, they need help too. They need a board-certified forensic pathologist licensed to work in Washington State to help solve the mysteries that land in their laps. We met the team. They are passionate, dedicated, and doing it all for the right reasons. You can find that listing on the Snohomish County website. That's all the time we have for you on this edition of The Spotlight. Until next time, be smart and stay safe.